I'm Magda Tedder. I'm the Schwidler Chair in Judaic Studies at Fordham University. And in 2020-21, a difficult and unusual year, I was the NEH Scholar in Residence at the Center for Jewish History. This year, I worked on two projects, one on anti-Semitism and anti-Black racism, and another specifically related to the materials at the Center for Jewish History on the dissemination and the uses of the Jewish past and the role the present has played in the production of history and our understanding of Jewish history. So, writing my last book, I began to think about questions about why we know what we know about history. And although my previous books were more interested in unearthing materials about what happened, history, what happened in the past, this project engages more with the other side of historical knowledge about what is said to have happened, not just what happened historically, but also what is said to have happened, and how we historians over the long period of time that we've been writing history have been recounting these events and understanding history, what influences us and has influenced scholars over the years by events and our own lives. It was more about the discovery of the process. So when I initially envisioned this project, I imagined I would sit in at the Center for Jewish History and methodically examine all the scholarly journals and publications that were published in the early years of the writing of Jewish history. And I couldn't do it, so I just did a sampling of what the wonderful archivists and librarians at the Center for Jewish History made available for me virtually. So I did a sampling of scholarly journals from Germany, France, Italy, and Eastern Europe to understand, to at least get a glimpse of what kind of questions and issues were addressed by these early Jewish studies scholars. And what was very interesting to me was to discover the different topics that were of interest in different areas. So for example, Italian scholarly journals, Jewish scholarly journals, were far more attuned to non-European Jews than Northern European Jewish journals. So we see more articles about Jews in North Africa, the Ottoman Empire, even Ethiopia and Abyssinia. This is something that in the scholarly interest only relatively recently became a focus on Jewish studies scholarship. But it made me ask a question, what our understanding of Jewish history would have been if the field took root not in Germany and in Eastern Europe, but in fact in Italy. I am currently revising for publication my next book that I mentioned on anti-Semitism and anti-Black racism, and then I hope to focus more on the project that I just started at the center, virtually started really on my couch at the Center for Jewish History. And hopefully I'll be able to come back physically in person to the center and do what I envisioned to do by methodically looking at year by year, journal by journal, country by country, to see what kind of topics and questions these early scholars have been asking and how the events that they were living through impacted their research. I think this is a question that we're now understanding even more because we see how the COVID pandemic, the crisis that it wrought on all of us, has influenced the way we're thinking about our own research and our own topics.